Hello, fellows. Um, I am now streaming. Let me see if I can get this to work. Give me 1 second. All right. I'm finally back to streaming, guys. I'm pretty happy about this. Sorry for the hiatus. I hope it was worth it. Let's see. I need to get the chat set up. Oh, hello. We have somebody in chat. Hello, John Boys. All right. Looks like they left. Oh, man. I'll wait to see if when people join. Oh, wait. It's playing sound. I don't want that. All right. So, let's see. Give me 1 second. I'm going to make an announcement on my Discord. Make sure people see it. Well, I think actually it should have made an announcement on my already. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So, well, I wonder, maybe I should make an announcement on my channel. All right. I need this to do well. All right. How do I do this? All right. All right. I don't really care. I think people will join once they start seeing the announcement. All right. So I'll just keep an eye on things, and if nobody joins after like 30 minutes or 15 to 30 minutes, I'll just give it a break. You know, I don't want to go too far without having like anybody watch, because that would be a waste of time. That would be a bummer. But oh yeah, that's right. They have different wolves now. Hmm. I don't see anybody showing up. I may end up just quitting early if nobody shows up. Oh, somebody did show up. There you are. Oh, okay. Sorry, John Boys. Didn't want to cut you off. Let's see. What did you say? D and G. Okay. There's a lot of secondary literature. I'm actually really bad at recommending secondary literature because I didn't get into it initially through secondary literature. But there's definitely people in my server who could suggest a couple of good books to start with there. With regards to D and G, if you want to start with G, I always say Chaosophy, right? Because Chaosophy is a collection of essays and interviews from the 1970s. And it's definitely his easiest work to read because he's not obsessed with the Schizanalytic Cartographies project yet. That's like what he does in the 80s. He's developing the ideas for that, which is why you want to read the stuff in the 70s first, because like it's part of the natural progression, and he's thinking his ideas in more, oh dear, more abstract and like basically more abstract ways that are kind of easier to grasp than like the very technical semiotics that he does later. With Deleuze, yeah, I'm not the one to ask because I'm I don't read enough Deleuze, but he's really tough. That's what I'll say about him. He's very, very tough. It might be a good idea to read the people he talks about. Like, make sure you're read on people like Kant and Hume and Nietzsche and Marx and all that shit. Oh my god, there's so much reading to do for that. You can just jump into Guattari. That's kind of what I like about him. But he's like really thick. So like it kind of feels like a brick when you first do it cuz it's just like what the fuck, dude. But yeah. That's cuz he talks at 1,000,000 miles per hour. What I would also suggest is like just participating in reading groups really helps. Like, don't read this shit by yourself. First off, like it's okay to ask questions because, like, Jesus Christ, you gotta get used to what he's saying, and like people say it's jargon, it's really not. But what it is it's technical language. You know, like, you would use technical language within like a scientific field, and they use technical language to describe what they're doing, but it's difficult to grasp technical concepts right away. And again, that's kind of why like Chaosophy is pretty good for that. And again, it's tough to read something like Everybody Wants to Be a Fascist because like he kind of goes all over the place in that essay too. Like it's a good essay when you kind of like get the point, but like he's really messy in that one. Like there's literally a part where he's like complaining about people who may disagree with him upon reading this. It's really ridiculous. Yeah, so also I would also recommend reading the interviews because the interviews, like think about it, like interviews are like where people tend to kind of speak in their most easy to listen to, easy to read way because they're trying to communicate some kind of high level concept to somebody who doesn't know anything, right? And again, Guattari is still like really like how do I describe it? Just like really dense with his like language in general. He just gets really excited about complicated ideas. But yeah. One thing I really also enjoyed reading, I mean it's not going to make you I mean it can make you better at understanding the problem because it's like a historical document. Um Reading the Anti-Oedipus papers, like honestly just read them because they're funny and crazy. Like Jesus Christ, this guy's story is like insane. You read this shit, you're like, really, dude, that's what you're doing with your life, and you kind of you kind of get a better grasp of what kind of person he was and his like insecurities and shit. That's also the book where on the back cover it has that hilarious quote about Lacan where Guattari is talking about how he can't stop having Lacan appear in his dreams. And he's pissed off because he's like, I'm trying to basically write Anti-Oedipus, but I keep having these Oedipal dreams. I hate it. What the fuck? Like, I keep having dreams about Daddy Lacan. Why is this? I hate Daddy. I hate Oedipus. I hate the family. Ugh. Dude, he's so funny. Like, that's the reason why I got into this shit. Like, he's the funniest fucking philosopher. I can't, he's like a person you can't believe is real when you, like, find out more about him. He is really just, like, Chaos Control, the person. He's fucking hilarious. He's also, like, he's incredibly bright, but he's also incredibly naive, and he does incredibly stupid shit. Oh, he's very silly. Oh, I recommend reading his daughter's book. It's called I Little Asylum. That's a really fun book. It's about how she grew up in Laborde. Crazy shit's in there, including a giant shit pit. That is like a thing in there. There's a giant shit pit and a kid falls in it. It's quite an adventure. And then oh, I see. It's not showing me all the messages. Show me all the messages. There we go. Okay. That way if anybody else decides to join chat. I was missing messages last time because I use my phone to read the messages actually because I don't like using more than one screen. So, but yeah, no. I Little Asylum. That's a good one. What else? And by the way, I'm just kind of chilling out. Like, yeah, I'm supposed to find plateaus, but I'm just relaxing, man. I'm enjoying myself. I kind of want to make a short follow up video where I discuss like my alternatives to like effective altruism, because like my last video kind of like said, hey, fuck these guys. And I know a lot of people are asking like, well, how do we deal with these problems? And like I think like I had an interesting comment. I need to read the guy's response because it was really long. Oh yeah, I'm honestly not like I'm pretty chill. I'm pretty chill. I think that's like one thing that has come in my advantage with um, dealing with crazy shit. Because I don't know if you're in the server, but like I talk about it pretty openly. I don't really like care that much. I think it's important to have somebody who's just like open about having to deal with like taboo mental illness, like psychosis. Oh no, that's so scary. Oh, I said the word. Yeah, and so I think it's helped out being a chill person overall, though. Like, I do get very anxious, but, and that can lead to paranoia, but, like, I don't like to fight with people. It's just too exhausting. Like, and it's funny, but I, like, I do pick fights, but, like, I get very, most people I don't want to pick fights with, but, like, certain people, it's like, no, you're going down. You're going down, man. I can't, no, I can't just have you say that. That's wrong. That's not what the book said. Yeah. It's kind of funny because I wrote, so like the last video, I kind of wrote like in a manic frenzy, like the initial draft. And it was basically the same that we have now. Yeah, and like it was just like I had like a moment where like something clicked in my brain and I was like, I have to fucking talk about this. And like I had pretty much 90% of what I presented in there stitched up, but I did have to make a lot of edits because it was a really rough draft. Like there was certain parts that were missing that were just like, yeah, I can't release it like this without this minor explanation here or there. Fun fact, the original draft doesn't even mention doesn't even have the part where I talk about mold bug, which is really funny. Like I can't believe I forgot that. But that's because I literally don't fucking read garbage. Like his writing sucks so much ass. I can't get over how bad of a writer he is. He's literally like he is like the platonic ideal of the Reddit atheist. Like that's him. Like that's what he's become. He literally has a paper called How Dawkins Got Pwned. Like with a P. Like you know we're in 2007 territory now. I remember when people like used to say pwned like unironically. Like people actually did say that in real life. And it wasn't just at Hot Topic. It was that was a time that I think the real reason why people hate it is because people said stupid shit like pwned and then at the same time they were like extremely racist for no reason. Like I mean people are like that now. But like the reason why people yearn for the 2000s is because they want to go back to the time where they're like, remember when we could just go on forums and say slurs and people wouldn't get mad at us? Oh my god, I wish it was like that again. And it's like, really, you do? That was like dreadful. Like every topic was like the worst. I, like at least we have hobbies now, I guess. Like there's it's very alienating, but I think that has much more to do with like the way that websites are designed than that has to do with like certain cultural changes. I think like the cultural changes are actually like trying to adapt to a lot of the problems within these designs that encourage like really hateful toxic behavior. Like that's the thing that really bothers me about like a lot of like people when they okay, so a lot of people think that it's a boomer take to believe that like phones are like bad for you, which is like stupid because there's a lot of evidence to the contrary. Next time you see ice, oh my gosh, ice boats. Yeah, I keep forgetting. I'm not a Minecrafter. Can you tell I'm not a gamer? I'm a real not gamer. I get pussy. No, I'm just kidding. I don't get pussy. Are you kidding me? I will go on the ice next time. I feel really stupid. I actually saw I think what do you call it? The ice peaks or ice poles or whatever biome. All right. Felix is a real. Yeah, I'm a real gamer because I exist in real life. I am not a simulation. I Can I just say that those AI generated like videos that are like supposed to simulate what Minecraft looks like or whatever for like the hallucination effect. Like they I know they look cool, but oh my god, they make my migraine so fucking bad. I hate them. Like I cannot watch them. Like I respect them honestly as an art form cuz like I think it's like a good use of AI generated art as long as like they don't do it in like a stupid way that uses a ton of resources. But like um and I'm sure they're not just to be clear. But I I think that the concept is cool. It just gives me a massive migraine. Like something about like AI generated shit. Like I don't know. Like maybe it's the schizo brain mutation, but that's the technical term, by the way. That's the technical term. I'm just kidding. But yeah, maybe it's just like the changes that I had that makes me like see the world in a different way where it's just like AI. Like I don't know. Like uh, it's gonna be weird when AI figures out how to like animate people besides just like sitting there. Like okay, I don't know what kind of ads you get on YouTube, but I am cheap and I don't know how to fucking make the ads go away on YouTube. I know there's some fucking app for it, but I really should do that because of all the fucking tracking shit. But I really don't care that much. Maybe I should now, but until very recently, I really didn't care that much because I was just like, whatever. I know everybody's gonna. Do I think that phones are rotting Gen Alpha? Um, I think excessive phone use, yeah, like it's causing problems, but it's not because of like brain rot. Like that's part of it, but it's also just like the UI. Like the UI enables the production of brain rot. Like, what do you think Shorts is? Shorts is literally for like, it's not all content on Shorts is bad. Like there are good educational channels, but like in order to really take off with a wide general audience on Shorts, you really or like TikTok, it's just like yeah, I'm yeah, fake schizo. Nah, that's kind of funny because like for me, my paranoia is like really polarizing and it's really stupid and inconsistent. So like, um, I'm lazy as fuck. That's really like my problem with like YouTube tracking and shit. Um, I'll get like paranoid, super paranoid about things that don't matter, and then just like completely ignore like this shit because I'm just like either preoccupied with shit that doesn't matter. Or I'm just like too lazy because I'm a stupid fucking asshole. Like it's kind of funny because I'll be like, oh my god, there's people watching me, and then I'll like not give a shit that like YouTube is watching me. But no, for me, it's more like crazy associations. Like, actually, I have been really paranoid lately, though. That is weird. Like, okay, so like real talk. I had a weird day today because like I was actually hallucinating a lot today, which is not something I've done a lot. But I think it's because yesterday I had kind of like an incident where like something really stressed me out, and I couldn't like. Basically, the fire alarm was really loud, and I got really like upset by the loud noise and I was like afraid of upsetting my roommate over it because I was just like frustrated. And normally what I do is I take a blanket and whip the smoke away, because what happened was I was cooking something, and basically what I was cooking has cheese on it, right? And when the cheese melts and it hits the bottom of the pan, it can like start to get really smoky really fast. It's not burning, like, I mean, it is burning, but it's just because it's a thin layer, it just produces so much smoke really fast, right? And like it's not like it's pretty easy to fix, but it's just really annoying because you have to be really precise with the timing, and I haven't mastered it yet, and I fucked up yesterday, and it really stressed me out because I couldn't figure out where my blanket was to freaking make it go away. And um I knew something was going to happen afterwards because I could feel it. Like you can kind of tell, like, when you're gonna have some. I call it a whiplash episode. I don't know if other people experience this, but for me, what happens is that like 24 to 48 hours after a trigger incident, I will start to have like really intense symptoms for a period. They'll go away. It's not like terrible or anything, but and they only happen in the summer months. And I have like this transition period in May where I go between being really depressed to being manic. So, um, yeah, I actually just finished doing meal prep. I was making chili actually. Um, and I was making that for I made a lot of it. It had a lot of beans. But yeah. So yeah, I have like this sort of like whiplash effect. And so today, even though nothing really happened outside of just being annoyed about the fact that I had to like go like miles and miles and out to do something for like paperwork reasons, I was really annoyed by that. Um like nothing really bad happened or anything, but then I had like these symptoms where I was like seeing cats and people's faces everywhere. Like it's weird. It was like it felt like people were staring at me, and I thought like I swear I saw people like staring at me, and then I realized, oh wait, that's not a face. What the fuck? And I was like, oh shit. But yeah, honestly, I'm so used to it now that I know how to deal with it. It's really, the problem is when it's like continuous abuse from like stupid assholes. Like, I think this year it's gonna be a lot less bad just because I used to work at a really abusive employer, and they were shitheads. I hated those guys. I think I talked about them. No, I talked about them in when we did our Ben and Arthur watch party. Which, by the way, in Discord we do movie watch parties. So if you're into that sort of thing, um, that's something we're doing now. I took a break from it. Oh, Savannah. That means plateau. Um, yeah, so I took a break from it for a short while, but we're gonna be watching Ice tomorrow by Robert Kramer. I found it. I was so excited. Oh my god, I can't believe we get to actually watch this. This is like, oh my god. If you haven't already, one of my favorite videos on the channel is the one where I talk about Guattari's screenplay. Read it. I mean, watch it. It's really good. Um, it's a very interesting story. But very, very interesting, but kind of sad story. Because he didn't get his movie made. And he died, you know. He did die the way that he like kind of made sense though. Like he really did just go too fast. Is it possible to forget how to have a conversation? Yeah, actually, well, it's not like you forget. It's not like forgetting. It's complicated. Like sometimes what I experience is that I think I'm saying something and I'm saying something completely different. And like what I'm really saying makes no sense. And it can be really unsettling to people because like it's almost like there's like a shift between like the thing that makes the language happen and the thing that you actually experience or were saying, whatever. Yeah. So what you're thinking you're saying and what you are actually saying are two very different things. That's what happens to me sometimes. I'm gonna count this as a plateau. I don't give a shit. I make the rules around here. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. And yeah. So I have that, and then I have times where I'm just really confused by what other people are saying, and sometimes it's like really frightening. Like, there's been times where like somebody would approach me and just like saying hi like normally, and it just feels terrifying for some reason. It's not a stroke. It's just being crazy. That's normal. It's literally called that's so like people who are schizophrenic and also bipolar sometimes experience something called word salad, where basically they will try to say something and it just doesn't make any sense. It's not like strokes, because like don't strokes have more like slurred speech? Like, I mean, the confusion would make sense, but there's a lot of other things that happen with strokes that make it clinically distinct, even for somebody without like medical equipment. Ooh, I can pillage this village. Just like my ancestors. That's not even a lie. See, the children may yearn for the mines, but I yearn for just thievery, I guess. But yeah, thankfully I haven't had any issues today with words. I've been pretty good on words. Really just paranoia and hallucinations. And thankfully not like really stupidly like hard to deal with ones. Like mold is a really obnoxious one, because when you see mold everywhere, you don't want to eat bread, because what if it's moldy? You can't tell. And then I don't know if anyone else experiences that one. That one's really fucking annoying. Like, I just say, like, I once told somebody, like, oh man, you know what's the most annoying, like, worst, like, fucking hallucination? When you smell dog poop because you can't find where it is. Um, ha. Um, well, I guess the way to put it is like the one of my sides of my family is like descended from like basically a border clan in Scotland that was like quite violent. Which was like very my mom was like really obsessed with that, which I thought was really strange. I think it's interesting. I kind of want to write about it. Like, I thought about it recently actually as like a plot device, but I thought it was interesting as like a plot device, where it's like, oh, I could explore bordering effects through the literal border of the UK and Scotland historically, and developments of the clans on the border. That would actually be, I want to write like a story that involves that as one of the subplots. And basically like it kind of implies that like what was produced what was being produced at that border was actually like a sort of like imperialist Anglo faciality. But I want to kind of like explore the history a bit more to see what's going on. But yeah, like I wanted to have like the characters be like descendants of like different clans, and like they realize like one character doesn't take it very seriously, and they're just like, whatever, I don't really care. And then the other's like, no, you don't understand, it's all this ancient lore that you're connected to, you're this and that and the other. And then it's like they have to figure out like what to actually do with that information. So but yep, now I'm like embarrassingly Anglo, which is so funny. I've been like, no, I'm going to, no Anglo spear. I have I am no longer friends with Anglospear. I am now friends with Francospear, even though I can't speak French. But Francospear friends are nice and teach me things that are helpful. Sometimes. Sometimes. Sometimes they make fun of me, but that's okay. It's better than being British. You get to learn all the lore. You get to learn all the secret punished Felix lore in the live streams. This is why I don't care about YouTube listening in on me in about paranoid schizophrenia, because I know that I'm already too stupid to just tell everything in the stream anyway. Now you can now go online. You can now go online and connect the database of schizophrenics that the government is keeping tabs on and be like, yep, we know the lore now. Okay, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're just like writing it down in a notepad, like, oh yeah, tell me more. Interesting. Damn, this shit ain't Plateaus for fuck. Well, at least we got a plateau already. What do we got here? So it is, what? 9. Alright. I think I'll go for another hour. I think that will be fine. Maybe 30 minutes if I get a headache. I may get a headache, knowing me. I mean, I have had a bit of a rough day with my brain, so maybe I should take it a little easy. You know, there's a character in Guattari's screenplay that's literally a journalist who reports to the feds, and it's really funny how he writes the interactions, because it's like he understands that these things are going on, but he doesn't really understand how to write them. He really does write it like he's a fucking teenager. Can you elaborate? I actually don't know very much about post colonialism. I mean, I'm interested whenever it comes up on my radar, but I don't know. I'm not like an expert on it. No idea how to answer your question. It might require multiple messages if it's like kind of like a detailed situation. I don't mind. So. I mean, part of maybe just on the top of my head, maybe something to kind of get your brain jogged on it, just like throwing spitballing. Maybe, oh, you know what? I'm gonna count this as a plateau real quick. Maybe like what it is like. All right, let's see. So like something that I often like point out is just how capitalism just replicates its structures everywhere. It's like very pervasive. It finds a way. It's like it's got a very intense will to exist, will to power, whatever. And like maybe what is occurring here is that parts of the study are just not critical enough of these influences. And this is, oh shit, fucking pillagers. I hate pillagers. Why'd they add that to the fucking game? I just want to vibe, man. And I don't want to have to delete creepers to make it happen. But yeah, I think a lot of it if I had to guess, right, just from an outsider's point of view, like I think it's probably just people are not critical enough of capitalism. They don't want to be Marxist. They don't want to like I'm not even a really good Marxist, but like they don't want to think about like the same things Marx did, okay? And it's just like, ooh, that's scary. That's taboo. Like I think right now is a good time to like, you know, they're gonna defund you anyway. May as well like go out with a bang. You know what I mean? Not like that. Not like player 2. I mean, you know, write a paper. Just to be clear. Okay, low key though, it's really funny that like that the whole Luigi thing, like I'm not a fan of the worship. I'll say that. That shit's weird. But the whole situation was so funny when it was happening. Like it was literally like memes like coming to life. It was just hilarious. One of the funniest things I have ever experienced in my life. Because like so this murder happens, and like you basically got like fucking yakety sax trying to find this guy until some dumbass McDonald's employee rats. Oh wait, why did I do that? I just brain farted. Yeah, some um dumbass McDonald's employee rats out on them. This actually reminds me of a plot point in A Love of Week. Like this actually happens in the plot. Like I don't want to spoil everything. Do read the screenplay. It's really funny. Um, it's really funny that he wrote it too. Like it's just like what you did. This is real. That's like everything with him with Guattari though. Like really, bro, you did okay. I guess this is another thing to add to the collection. But yeah, there's a plot point where these kids try to turn in one of the characters into the feds to get a bounty, right? Or they're discussing the bounty and they get caught and they want to and they get like captured by these like guys and get taken away in a van. And it's just really funny because it kind of reminds me of what happened to the guy who ratted on Luigi, because he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that money, and it's like, no, actually, due to a completely bullshit technicality, you don't get the money. Did you see they're going to do a trial to kill him in spectacle? I mean, that's not surprising in the slightest. I haven't actually been following the news too closely just because, one, I've been really busy with a lot of things in real life, and two, I've been really busy trying to make videos. I'm going to be really upset if this video poops out, like, in the algorithm. I'm going to be like, what did I do wrong? It's actually my best performing video yet, but I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me one bit because, like, they just kind of want to make an example out of him. Like, it's kind of funny. He's probably, like a lot of people really like this guy, regardless of, like, you know, where they are necessarily on the spectrum, right, of politics, not autism. I just realized that. But yeah, on the political spectrum, you know, there's a wide variety of people who are like, yeah, fuck that CEO. I don't give a shit. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I just don't know much about post-colonialism, like, as a study. Like, I read things when people recommend it to me, but it's not like my main research subject. So, like, I don't know a ton about it. It's not like something I feel comfortable, like, talking about on, like, on the back of my hand or anything like I do with Guattari. But, yeah, I think that just kind of comes down to, like, people not being critical of capitalist structures, like I was saying before. It kind of comes, you know, I think a good analogy that might be worth analyzing, actually, is the charity model within, like, disability, which is something I can definitely talk a lot more about than post-colonialism. So something that somebody was talking about in the comments was they were trying to understand, like, why am I critical of effective altruism? Why do I not think that donating to these charities and, you know, optimizing how charities use funds is the best way to approach this? And I was just blunt with them. I was like, well, to be honest, I don't really trust these people to be efficient in making those decisions, because these people already fund tons and tons and tons of money into projects that don't go anywhere because they don't understand their users' needs. Like, part of the reason why, like, so, like, one of the most useful pieces of technology that a blind person will use on their computer is something called a screen reader. And you want to know what? The best screen readers are made by blind people because they know what they need. They don't need some fucking sighted person telling them how to fucking use a computer, because they know what they need already. They just need somebody to put it together, you know? And, you know, so, like, basically, it just comes from this, like, completely uncritical view on how to, like, deal with the problems in the world, such as post-colonialism, because it's just like, people aren't thinking like, oh, what is the impact of this? What is the impact of that? And I think like a big part of it is just that like this is part of the reason why I made this video that I just made, because like people always ask me like, why do you write so much about Dawkins? Because he literally shaped the internet that we're living in right now. Like he literally made this happen. Like, he's a big part of it, at least, right? Like he basically, like that video I made about him a year or two ago was literally just about how he constructed the ethico aesthetic paradigm of what we're experiencing right now. Yeah, exactly. Like, autism. So like, uh, autism activism is very interesting because, especially in like the 2000s, I think it's petered off a bit, but in the 2000s, it was a war. Like, it was a war. All right, because like Autism Speaks was like, yeah, what if we just got rid of autistic people? And autistic people were like, yo, what? Excuse me? Excuse me? And they fought back. Like they fired back. Yeah, exactly. It's just like fucking LARPing as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Like, wow, whoopie doo. Somebody in the server pointed out, reminded us all of Kurzgesagt's video funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates foundation, where they talk about overpopulation, and guess where? Africa. Womp womp. It's so funny that they always talk about fucking overpopulation in Africa when like China and India literally have like large, like billions of people in it, but they're too pussy shit to say that because they have nukes. Well, the sick irony of Autism Speaks semiotics is that they believe that autistic people are incapable of speaking for themselves. So they have a fucking group of fucking try-hard moms do it for them. Which is really frustrating because even nonverbal autistics can learn ways to communicate. There's devices that they can use. Not every autistic person can use it, but like a lot can, and a lot do rely on these devices, which are also really expensive. But yeah, going back to like some interesting things about like just accessibility and the state of like disability markets and stuff. So accessibility is not really profitable. Um, it's very like it's like you basically have to like the business models behind it are fucking like crazy. Like a lot of them, a lot of companies just rip people off, which is just like fucking awful. A lot of companies are basically nonprofit. Um, the most successful model in computers would be NVDA, which is open source, and they rely on donations, but they're so popular that they definitely get enough donations to function at least as like a large open source project led by a few people. So, um, but yeah, like the market is just not able to like adapt to this need very well. It's actually really shit at it because it keeps diverting resources from medicine, like actual innovations in medicine, um, disability, accessibility, all these things that could improve disabled people's lives, and it diverts it towards like bullshit like anti-aging, which by the way, I fucking hate anti-aging. Like, yeah, okay. Like I am getting older, and as I get older my body does like get creakier, and sometimes my knees do weird stuff and my legs do weird stuff, and I'm just thinking to myself, "Oh man, I really hope I don't fall over." Oh, I know. You're so right about that, Dragon Riff. I hate that. It's so fucking racist. But, yeah, I'm getting old. I'm getting creaky. I'm not that old. I'm in my 30s. Which is really funny because, um, a lot of people get really angry at my videos when they get more popular because, of course, they're going to get angry when some random gamer YouTuber sees it. and they have to see the word gender. Oh my god, they said gender. But yeah, like a lot of them comment that I'm like a college age student, and I'm like, whew, well, that's really flattering. Oh, yep, I'm already old. I used the internet on dial up in the 90s. I remember downloading. Oh my god. So this is like a really funny 90s story. So like basically what happened was when I was a really widdly littly tot, I used to go on, I think I was like 5 years old when Pokemon came out in the US. And funny enough, in um I was in Japan in 1997, and somehow I did not remember seeing Pokemon. I guess I just didn't attach to my brain when I was a little tot when I was there. I do remember some things, just not Pokemon. But when I remember Pokemon, it was in the United States because of the super aggressive advertising campaign. Like, it was crazy. When I talk about it in my videos, I am not exaggerating. It was fucking nuts. Ooh, okay. All right, I'm gonna do this. What is Felix's political ideology? Oh, I I don't know. It's like I don't know. I think this is I hate that question, honestly, cuz like I don't have words to describe my political ideology, and I think if you're concerned more about the words of your political ideology, you don't really you don't really like you're I don't know. Like, you're more focused on ideals than you are on like a material politics, I guess. And I guess you could like maybe describe a political ideology around that, but I don't know. Like, I kind of just like I don't know, man. Like, I'm not an anarchist, I know that, but I'm also not like a Marxist Leninist or whatever either. I don't really know where I lie. It's funny because Guattari kind of goes all over the fucking place too, so I'm not exactly referencing like a guy who would give me a good answer. Marxist Guattari, yeah, I think that's probably the best way to describe politics. I guess the way I see politics is like I think it's like something that you want to like build towards, like, just you're trying to build towards better futures, basically. Ooh, there we go, we're back in the water. And like, to me, I think it's more like it's hard for me to say like what I think things should be, because I'm kind of like a tinkerer in my brain, and I think about it more in the context of like what is a problem in my vicinity now. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm attracted to Guattari, because I'm more interested in micropolitics anyway. Like, how do I deal with this situation? How do I deal with this situation, right? And some people might think that's like reactionary, right? But it's really not, when you're basing like that knowledge off of like an actual analysis of the situation. You take your time to think about it, and you compare it to like, what you know about the world and everything like that. Oh, I know. People are going to go after me about dialectics. I really don't give a shit about the whole dialectics thing, honestly. That's Deleuze shit. I'm sure Guattari bitches about it somewhere, but I really don't care. Like, it's the stupidest fucking thing to get in an argument over, because it's just like Marxoid shit. But yeah, I think I focus more on like just what can you like how can you rearrange things to be better, right? How can you make a situation better? How can you take what exists now and make a better future out of it? I think maybe like what, and maybe this is a misunderstanding on their part. Like, this is why I don't like talk about the dialectics question, because like I'm not really okay. So I was thinking about this earlier, but like with me and philosophy, I think like what a lot of people do is that they're very like interior with philosophy, right? Where it's like they're analyzing what a philosophy is saying and how it works on the inside. It's like analyzing the gears of a philosophy, right? Like, oh, this is how it works. And I'm not the best at that because I'm kind of dumb. So instead, I'm really focused more on like what a philosophy is capable of doing and like what it's producing, what kind of ideas like can I get from this. And that's kind of why like my channel is like oriented more in a direction where I come up with like new ideas, where I combine things in like different kinds of ways, and I try to like expose like different kinds of like intersections that people really wouldn't think of. Like, you know, again, that's kind of part of the reason why it annoys me when like people would complain about me talking about Dawkins, because it's like, well, how much have you actually thought about Dawkins's impact on the world? Yeah, and like how much have you actually like but yeah, like how much have you actually thought about like Dawkins's impact on the world? Because like he literally shaped the movement that you hate. Like you're bitching about how nobody reads your books. Well, he's the reason why people don't read your damn books. Aren't you going to talk about that? Nah. Nah, of course not. We want to talk about learning about what the theory means on the inside, and that's fine for some people, but that's just not how I roll, you know. It's the interiority versus exteriority thing, you know. And I think that's part of the reason why I like Guattari, because he thought in the same way, and that's kind of part of the reason why they were a cool combo. Yes, concept creation. Let's go. That reminds me, I need to, I think my next video, so I tend to, after my long videos that I put a lot of effort into, I like to do like a short summary where I talk about like my feelings in a more direct way. I think for this one, I want to talk a bit about like my response to negative utilitarianism and effective altruism. Like, I think I mentioned this earlier, but yeah, like how okay, so if I don't agree with these things, what is my alternative? Okay, what do I do instead? So the classic example that Singer loves to bring up is that of just the treatment of animals, right? Now, to be clear, I am not a vegan, right? Now, but I am proposing this as a tool for vegans to discuss, because while I personally believe that the issue with like animal rights kind of has more to do with like Marxist problems, right? I think that the whole like um argument that it's like wrong to consume anything made by like another being's body is just kind of a waste of both a waste of time and just like it's not, it's looking at the wrong problem. Like, I'll be honest with you, I don't really care if somebody used my body after death to make something out of it, as long as it was something valuable and like meant something. Like, really what was fucked up about like doing that to humans in certain events that I don't want to say because you never know with YouTube is really the relation of that production. Like, if I was turned into like a fucking like sacred object or something that was valuable to my community, that would be cool. That would mean like my body gets to continue to support the people that I love. But, you know, that's not the relationship that we have with that's not the relationship that we have with each other, and that's not the relationship we have with animals, right? So basically, I'm not interested in arguing this whole like crap about like, oh, it's wrong to like, you know, consume the bodies of other living things. Like, it's just fuck off. But I do believe that vegans, you know, would really benefit from an argument alternative to Singer's ethical argument, because that shit is everywhere. And like, I don't really think there's been a good answer to it, because, and it's not that it's a good idea, it's a terrible, terrible idea. Like, Singer's argument is fucking sucks. But like, it's more about shutting his ass up, because he's so fucking shitty and annoying, and just like, shut the fuck up. Just please shut the fuck up. It's that fucking Mr. Incredible meme, like, if you know what I'm talking about. So like, oh, not like that. I meant when I'm dead. And no, maybe what you're implying is not something that I would be okay with, because that's desecrating a human body. I mean, like, being turned into like a valuable like tool or like artifact or like talisman, something like that, where it's like meaningful, not like fucked up. But yeah, anyways, yeah, so like the problem is our relationship with production. But yeah, so but yeah, they need an argument that counters Singer's, and my argument is that so Singer talks about, like, really the core of his argument is that um beings can have a certain amount of suffering, and the reason why he insists on killing babies is not because they're suffering. Okay, that's actually not his reasoning. The reasoning is that in order to increase overall suffering in society, or decrease overall suffering in society. Sorry, in order to decrease overall suffering in society, it would be better to allocate resources that could be used on reducing certain kinds of suffering than other kinds of suffering. So he basically sees disabled people as a huge cost to society when we could make other people suffer less, as opposed to being critical of the structures that are producing suffering. Like, he basically thinks that suffering is like a value form, like I described in the video, that you can measure, and he thinks that you can economize it, right? And so my argument against that is that I think that suffering is a really poor metric of like what we're trying to measure here, which is why like industrial farming is like a fucking like existential nightmare and ethically wrong, right? Like, why is it wrong? It's not. Is it really because of suffering? Because like the problem is that people suffer just cuz things happen. Like, I suffered today because, one, my brain went crazy because of shit that happened yesterday, and two, I had to go and spend hours of my day on something that I really didn't want to do. That's still suffering, and quite frankly, there's very little that I could have done to like change that situation. And really, what mattered is more like how I dealt with that situation and how I created better futures from that problem, right? So like, instead of fixating on the fact that I was suffering at that very moment, I instead fixate on what is potentially possible if I tolerate this suffering for a little bit and, make a better future. Because, I had to do that trip, because if I didn't do that trip, I could lose benefits, right? And, I had to, I had to deal with these symptoms, because if I didn't, they could get worse and worse, and it could even cause a bigger problem, right? And so, yes, I suffered today, but was it really something that like I think is going to get better by putting it into this dumbass calculus that just generalizes everything into organizing like society? Like, no. And it's definitely not something that would get better just by throwing money at the problem. Like, yeah, maybe you could like invest more in like the phone lines so I didn't have to go all the way out. That was really obnoxious. But it's like, at the end of the day, Peter Singer doesn't see that as like a solution, because he doesn't focus on two things. One, he doesn't focus on futures, and two, he doesn't focus on like subjectivities beyond individualist subjectivity. Like, to him, like, suffering occurs in individuals. It's not something that is produced by machines. It's not something that can exist in like asignifying ways. It's not something that like exists between things. Like, you can't have a with Singer, you have to have units that suffer, right? Or otherwise the calculus doesn't make sense. You have to have individuals, right? It's very individualistic, and that's part of the reason why it plugs into capitalism so well. But I prefer to analyze the problem as a problem of subjectivity and futures and existential territories. So really, the problem with factory farms is not that an industrial farming is not that they produce suffering, but rather that they produce hopelessness. And hopelessness is defined in this case by the reduction of the existential territory of these beings, to the point where they basically just have to submit to what they're experiencing and die, and they're basically stripped of what makes them like a living thing. Like, It's not the fact that they're suffering that's bad, it's the fact that they're reduced to nothing. Oh my god, yeah, I know. That's the thing. These fucking tech bros believe in all this dumb bullshit. Like, okay, somebody bitched about how my most recent video is just Guattari propaganda, which, like, I mean, my channel's literally named Punish Felix. I don't know what to tell you. But, like, the thing is that, like, like, what I've actually observed in the last, like, 4 years just researching the shit that led up to the production of this video was just like how frustrating it is that because everyone just dodged this like one guy because they thought, well, he's dumb, I don't want to read that. Like Justin Murphy said that he was like mega autistic. Like I hello, hi Red. Yeah, I am the president of the Felix Guattari Pokemon fan club. I think he just rolled in his grave upon hearing that. I just killed my boat. Okay, come on, give me my boat back. All right. I like to imagine that he's secretly judging me. That's not true. He's actually, according to historical accounts, he was actually really chill. Like, he was not pretentious at all. Like, he wasn't like, oh, you didn't watch the art films that I like? Well, you're an idiot. Like, nah, he was like, oh, you liked this movie? Like, what did you see in it? Like, what was your perspective? Like, he was just really open-minded about that kind of stuff. And that was actually, like, really liberating for me, because then I realized, like, hey, I don't have to be a stuck-up asshole about everything. This guy wasn't. What is the Guattari Pokemon? Unknown. Absolutely, it's unknown. Um, because it's a bunch of letters, right? And everybody thinks that the way that unknown works is that it spells out things, it builds signifying chains. Ooh. But really, the way that unknown works is that they have these mysterious communications that exist between them, and they build these massive assemblages of like that are structured by radio waves. And unknown also are very act kind of like schizo things. Like they're very schizophrenic. Like if you have ever experienced, like they're literally a bunch of letters that can assemble messages that have eyes that stare at you that communicate with each other through radio waves. Like that's the most schizo shit you've ever heard in your life. It's actually kind of crazy that they came up with the idea of the unknown, because it really is like the most Guattari shit ever. I think like it was just like residual like I kind of wanted to make a video about this, but I didn't get around to it. I do want to make a video about pirate radio, but I think it will actually be more about jet set radio because that just makes more sense. Um. Oh yeah, he absolutely was Mr. Infodump. He was like, he was also the kind of guy who like shows like a bunch of diagrams of shit, and people are like, "Oh God, what the fuck is this?" And he's like, "No," and this one tells you about how the black holes, and you're like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?" He actually, so like his biggest flaw was that like people who knew him knew how like fucking awesome he was. They were like, "Holy shit, this guy's fire! I gotta show him to my scientist friends." And then they go and show him to his scientist friends, and he's like, look at my diagrams. And they were like, oh fuck, like you know how like if you look at in analytic cartographies, and you're like, what the fuck, what the fuck is this squiggly line triangle thing? Like now imagine being like a scientist who like, you know, does very like technical work in some fields that most people have never heard of, and this crazy man with like the craziest hair who can barely speak English is just like, look at my diagrams. This one's about black holes. Oh, yeah, he did have diagrams, yeah, maps of meaning. Okay, so interesting thing about cartographies, right? He actually got the idea of cartographies. Um, he got the ideas from cartographies. Actually, Guattari was. I'm not saying he was the only one who did diagrams, but he was Mr. Diagram, that's for sure. But yeah, anyways, so regarding cartographies, he actually got the idea from Fernand Delaney, who used to actually like record where autistic patients on his little autism ranch, where he would like basically what he had. This guy is like fucking cool as shit. He's even cooler than Guattari, but he's just like really obscure and weird. But I like Guattari because he's like he really matches the schizo shit. He gets the schizo shit. Fernand Delaney though, he understood the autism shit, and like it's really sad that he slept on so much in autism discussion in English, because this guy was fucking cool as shit. So what he did was he got like a ranch thing, like basically just some land in the rural French countryside, where he and some psychiatrists basically just lived alongside these autistic children who would otherwise be just completely institutionalized, right? They're nonverbal, they're non-responsive most of the time, right? They just kind of do their own thing. And he gave them a place to live, and not just a place to live, but a place to just live naturally and just do what they do. And what he would do is he would track where they would go in these maps, and that's where Guattari is believed to have gotten the idea of the cartography. Oh, I gotta read that. When you suggested that in the comments, I was like, holy shit, I gotta fucking read that. That sounds amazing. But yeah, Delaney's cool. There's some, I think the best way to actually like experience him is actually there are movies that he made. Definitely watch those. I watched part of one the other day, and it was just like, wow, this is so fucking cool. But yeah, that's where cartographies came from. When Guattari says he's an when Guattari says he's an idea thief, I don't know about words. When he says he's an idea thief, he means it. Like, he just grabs ideas from everywhere. He's just like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny that he was a radio pirate, isn't it? Let me spell it for you. Give me a second. There. I think that's right. I'm not sure. I might have flipped one of the letters. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing his name right. But yeah, it's like his writing is like super obscure in English, and it's really hard to understand because it doesn't translate well. So I know there's some people who are really into it, but I tried reading the Arcanian and I was just like, what the fuck? But low key, one of Guattari's biggest L's was he got fucking roasted by Delaney when and I don't even think this got translated to English yet. I don't, maybe in the very new, brand new, spanking brand new print run of Molecular Revolution. I don't know. I haven't checked it out yet. I just found out about it like a day ago. I haven't been on top of the I mean, I don't personally know, but I have some friends who are translators. Like Schizoanalytic Onion is a translator. They have a couple of important translations in the works right now, of both Guattari and Hemslev. So, very busy person. I was actually really worried about them, but they are fine. They are just really busy because of the fact that they're in school and they're doing all this. Ooh, cool. Enchanted Golden Apple. Fucking sick. But yeah, very busy person. Onion's very busy. But I would definitely recommend watching their channel. The thing about me is that I'm not very, like, good at the super technical details, but Onion is, like, a super mastermind with linguistics. And so they really understand the core, like, structure of, like, what is really being discussed. So, but yeah, not only is translating difficult, but Guattari writes very special in French. Let's just say that. Like, saying that you like Guattari in French is, like, practically offensive to French people. He's just like, what the fuck are you saying? Ah, great guy. Mr. Diagram sounds like, I just saw that. So yeah, going back to like his history. So yeah, the 70s, he's like composing all these like really interesting radical ideas. Like they're more vague than he gets in the 80s. In the 80s he gets very technical and like super detailed, and it's like really intimidating. Like schizoanalytic cartographies is extremely intimidating. I haven't even touched the functors. I kind of vaguely know how they exist on a high level, but like holy shit. Holy shit. Like this is so complicated, so over the top. And a lot of soft subversions is just stuff that was eventually published in schizoanalytic cartographies, but was, I think it was just translated in like piecemeal. Like soft subversions does have some unique stuff in it, so it is worth picking up. But Chaosophy is definitely like a more, if you want like unique texts, Chaosophy has more going on in it. It was really funny when I realized that Guattari's like rant on postmodernism was actually in schizoanalytic cartographies. Functors. Okay, so basically, Guattari's model of schizoanalysis um, has four functors, and there are two axes that these operate on. So, like, you can think of it like quadrants, right? And one axis is the virtual versus the actual, and the other is the real versus the possible. And essentially, each one of these quadrants is like a combination of these two kind of things. And the four functors are formally, let me think if I can remember them. Existential territories is definitely one. Um, uh, Constellation of universes, I think, something like that. Um, there's the abstract machines, and then there's the phyla. I don't remember. I know phyla's something. I don't remember, but yeah, maybe it's abstract phyla. I think I'm mixing them. Yeah, so basically, there's four of them. I don't remember them on the top of my head. I haven't actually revisited them in a while because I've mostly been focused on existential territories. But that's how things go. You go back and forth with these things, and over time you have a better understanding. I have a better understanding of the four functors than I did in the past. And also, Onion has been significantly helpful because they're just a super genius mastermind. It is kind of funny. So, like, it's kind of no secret that, you know, they're kind of the Deleuze in the relationship. They're big brain book reader, but they're like linguistic. They do language, but they also know philosophy. Oh, it's so big. I was like a fucking idiot for the longest time, and then all of a sudden my brain got turned on when I went crazy. And it's just like all of a sudden my brain was like, "No, we're doing this now." And I'm like, "We're doing this? Really?" And they're like, "Yep." It's like, "Okay." Anything to make me hate myself less. And it worked. Finally. I think like one of the funniest like complaints I get on my content though is when people are like, "What? You're not just a you're not just gonna make videos of a white boy lecturing the camera? You're white and you're a boy. You should do that." And I'm like, "Oh my god, you're telling me this?" Did the mapping of the four functors come after? No, the three ecologies came after. Three ecologies was published in 1989. And I think that's important to understand about the three ecologies is that it's not like he believes that they are essential. What he's actually doing is he's trying to construct his own sort of a mode of analysis. Like he's consciously making something quite structural in the three ecologies, in my opinion. At least with the three ecologies in question. Like they're pretty structured. They have a structure to them. But like his politics that he argues between them, like he's not saying that they're essential. He's saying that they're a way to analyze the situation, and the politics that he suggests through it, which I really do need to what do you call it? Refresh my memory on the details, but it's kind of like a sort of like rapid deployment of assemblages instead of having like things like political parties and unions, having more dynamic structures. And something that I noticed that was kind of scary is that it seems that, you know, this unconscious fascist wave has figured this out before like fucking leftists who want to argue on Twitter of all things about what kind of fucking leftism is best. Like, for fuck's sake, like the one that you go outside, okay? People are weird. What I think is really funny though is that I forgot to count the plateau. What I think is really funny though is that the transphobic comments that I got on the gender video, a lot of them were like, "You'll never be a real woman," and I'm like, wow, okay. Like, it's like, yeah, that would be really upsetting if I was a trans woman, but I'm a trans man, so yeah. Accidental validation. I know it's called like accidental ally or something, but it's just really funny with trans men because they totally forget we exist. Like we just don't exist to like these people, and like if we do exist, we're just stupid women who don't know any better, because, you know, the most feminist thing you can possibly say is that a woman is stupid and can't think for herself, so she needs some kind of authority to put her back in her place. J.K. Rowling. Like, what are you on, bitch? Like, come on. I'm not expecting her to, like, agree, you know, even agree or care with... Oh my god, yeah, why are you using Twitter? Like, okay, I use YouTube, but that's because I'm trying to reach an audience. Like, Twitter is just schizo bait. Twitter really did make my mental illness so much worse. I'm so glad I'm away from Twitter. Ooh, look at this long bridge. These guys were building. Damn. Is this what the Minecraft movie was about? Like, is this what they saw in the Minecraft movie? Okay, low key. So I saw a video from Mumbo Jumbo talking about the set design on the Minecraft movie, and and no offense to the VFX designers or whatever, but like, they really made that movie look like ass. Like, the prop design was actually really cool, and it would have been really interesting to see a practical effects Minecraft movie, but Hollywood would never let that happen. Not the JK. Yep, I dropped the JK Rowling. I'm trans. I can't help it. Is that the chicken jockey? Chicken jockey. I don't even... I saw the meme once, and I don't even remember how he says it. I just saw, like, the picture of, like, him saying chicken jockey. It's truly riveting. The state of memes, really. Can I just say that I fucking hate that they're called memes, because Richard Dawkins, again, and people really don't expect me to talk about this guy. Like, come on! I watched the unrendered Minecraft movie. What is that? You just shit? Is that a shitpost, or is that a real thing? Like, I've never heard of that. I will say this, that movie just looks bad. I kind of got pissed off that people were just like, well, I went and I enjoyed it. It's like, I don't understand. Like, I couldn't understand why people enjoyed the fucking Super Mario Bros. Movie. Like, that movie, I couldn't get through the first 20 minutes. Like, as soon as I realized it was an isekai movie, I was like, really? why are we isekaiing fucking Mario? Like, I get, like, it's supposed to be a shoved in reference to the Super Mario Super Show or whatever, but like, at least in that universe, it didn't feel like that, you know? Oh, I see what you're saying. Some leak before, yeah. Well, I will say, to be fair to the artists, like, unrendered stuff looks like shit, especially if there's like a lot of effects and stuff. Like, you're just, it's not gonna look good. That's part of the thing. Like, trust the process most of the time. I mean, the Minecraft movie kind of looks like ass, but most of the time, trust the process. Like, but yeah, like, you can't really tell much about how the end product will necessarily look through just looking at a pre-render. That's kind of unfair. That's not true. Maybe that's true now, but that was not true 15 years ago, where when all of this stuff was being written. Like, no, people were actually reading and consuming a shit ton of his stuff. He was everywhere, especially after the God Delusion. Oh my God. Can we make asking Richard Dawkins if he read Chaos Moses a thing? Like, that would be so funny if it actually reached him and he was like confronted with the fact that he was just quoting the book that he was reading as opposed to Guattari, but he acts like he read Guattari in the book review. It's so obnoxious. Like, it's like he doesn't specify that it's a quote from the book. He does kind of like say, "Oh yeah, like we found these guys," but it's not like clear, and people literally think that Richard Dawkins read this book and said, "Yeah, trash." This I like how you spelled it jeans like pants. The selfish jeans. You go to put on the selfish jeans and they're like, "No, fuck you. I'm doing what I want." I think I'm gonna like reference that in the future. Like when I talk about the selfish gene, I'm gonna share a a stock footage of like pants of jeans. Like, yeah, this denim doesn't give a shit about you. Oh my god. I still can't get over the fact that literally this whole fucking shit is happening because Richard Dawkins was such a stupid, immature asshole that instead of consulting somebody who understands like philosophy and could discuss the questions that he was like trying to answer with the selfish gene, he instead says some stupid bullshit about how philosophers never read Darwin, so let's just make up our own shit. And what he does is he introduces this random fucking dualist shit where somehow, some way, like, society is separate from fucking genes because, oh, if they're the genes are selfish all the time, then we have the problem that this will just aggregate into selfish behavior. And like, he can kind of mitigate some of the selfishness with like problems with like these overly complicated like descriptions of how altruism can evolve. And it's just like, it's just like he literally introduces that dualism just because he wants to call it selfish. If he called it the existential gene, it would have been, we would have avoided this. He wouldn't have needed to say this stupid shit about how like society is somehow separate from evolution. And that's bullshit. Like, there's a fucking genocide going on right now in Gaza, right? Like, they're just fucking carpet bombing kids and shit. I mean, I don't know like exactly what they're doing. I'll be honest, it's too much for me to read all the fucking time. But like, there was a period where I was like reporting on it all the time, and I can't. But like, they're fucking carpet bombing the shit out of Gaza right now. How the fuck are we not talking about that as an extinction event? Why do we feel more sad about like? And I'm not saying that it's not sad when a very unique endangered species goes extinct. Like, that is very tragic and horrible, and it's uniquely terrible. But why is it that we don't speak of genocide in a similar manner? Like, why is it that we don't? It's literally the local extinction of an entire gene pool. Like, we literally can see the effects of the Holocaust in genes. And like we're supposed to believe that society doesn't have an impact on evolution like that. Like, what is Richard Dawkins's real explanation for that? Because the truth is that it's not that he doesn't have one, it's that he has to waffle around the question without actually thinking about the structures that he produced. Oh god, I know, right? Oh my god, it would be so funny to like actually make him read Guattari. I've already pointed out in multiple of my videos that there's no way he read Guattari, because like, I mean, if he did, he would have like probably talked about like him talking about animals, because he talks about animals a lot. Like, it just makes sense, you know. He talks a lot about basically what did I say? He talks a lot about like Guattari talks a lot about birds, for example, because produce um, birds produce territories with their bird song, right? Or passerines, at least, right? Passerines are singing birds, right? So they're half of the species of birds anyway. So most birds you're gonna see is gonna be a passerine, and passerines typically, not all of them, but typically, have like form territories, and Guattari focuses sometimes on birds, and it just seems strange that Dawkins wouldn't talk about something like that, you know, where it's just like that's literally something that you could connect with evolutionary biology, you know, but you don't. You talk about this random shit that's literally taken in the middle of a chapter, which with no context sounds completely meaningless, but when within context, it's still really dense, but you can get to the meaning. And it's just a really, I really hate that quote that they picked too, because like, so like Dawkins doesn't include this part of the quote, but the quote that they so-call and Brickmon pick is actually referencing the the week, right? And it's really sad because Chaos Moses is the last book that Guattari ever wrote, right? So you got to think about the timeline on this, right? So biosemiotics, that sounds very interesting. I've thought a lot about the subject, but I've never read any literature, which is something that I really should change. Um, but yeah, so like, what's really sad about him selecting that quote is that so in 1987, that's when Guattari basically shelved his prospects of making a movie, right? And he kind of just like there's kind of like a depressing end to it, you know, and it's almost kind of like in his last 5 years from this point until he dies, he kind of has like this last attempt hurrah to try to like really grind, and that's why he dies. Like, he dies because he just pushes his body way too hard in this period, and he's like trying to go over so many different things, and he's just sees how much crap is going on. Like, that's why he made the three ecologies, which seems is kind of a weird book, honestly, in his collection. Like, most of his stuff aligns very closely with like most of what he talks about, but the three ecologies is really out there in comparison to the rest of his work. And that's because he is looking at like he's involved with the greens at this time, and he's realizing like what the climate situation is like, and he's like, what the fuck, what the what the fuck, what the fuck. And he's very much you know, that's the three ecologies is his ecology book, but it's also a book about media and our relationships. And basically what he argues in that book is that you can imagine like networks of subjectivities like ecologies, and he suggests the three ecologies as a means to analyze them, like I said earlier. And it's a very dire warning. He's basically describing an extinction event of the Anthropocene, but instead of just focusing on species, like individual species, He focuses on everything ranging from like, like various populations and cities and stuff like that to like ideas to culture and all these things basically just collapsing. Like everything just collapsing is like a massive extinction event. And I think it's a really interesting perspective because like you can think of, extinction not just from the perspective of just sheer number of species that disappear, but also just the sheer amount of like production that just shuts down and dies. Something like the KT extinction, which killed almost all life on the planet, like completely transformed the chemical processes that were being produced. It was definitely not just a matter of, oh, certain species got eliminated, certain genes got eliminated. He didn't predict Trump. He was talking about Trump at the time. He doesn't say like, "Oh, Trump will become president." He's in the three ecologies. He basically describes Trump as, essentially like killing off like poor people with being a slumlord. That's basically what he's saying, which is still true. But like, he didn't predict that he was going to be president. It's just that when Donald Trump became president the first time, that quote got a lot more popular because it's a really flavorful quote. He basically describes Donald Trump like a fucking toxic algae bloom. It's pretty sick. Like that's a pretty damning analogy. And I think for the time it was very accurate. Like it was definitely what Trump was doing at the time with his like fucking slumlord shit. But yeah, so going back to why the Sokol quote is so shitty. But yeah, like basically, so the thing that's really sad about it is that in Chaosmosis, Guattari makes reference to the concept of the weak by mentioning like this idea that perhaps intelligence could exist between galaxies, between quarks, right? And and like he still is holding on to that idea in his very last book right before he dies. And then fucking Sokol and Brickmont are just like, whoa, isn't it stupid that he would say that? Yeah, oh my god, it's so stupid that somebody would have a fucking imagination. Like, go fucking get bent, you two fucking assholes. Like, that's why it's so upsetting, like, if you're really into it, because it's just like, out of all the quotes that they could have picked, they picked the one that just happens to include something that was actually like really emotionally significant to the writer. And they don't even realize that because all they understand is oh, sorry. I did a fucking 2007, forgive me. They all they understand is fucking, oh my god, all I know is this doesn't make any sense. And it's like, I think the thing that pisses me off about Sokol is that he made his career off of this. Like, he goes around and acts like he's a fucking pseudoscience, like, fucking scam buster. Like, bullshit, bro. You literally made a career suiting as a fake fucking linguist because you discovered that people can use words to mean things that are not literal. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. And people took his fucking word for it. They thought he was genius. They were like, what? People can lie on the internet? Oh my god, Sokol, thank you for telling me this important information. I need to research the Derrida shit because they fucking hate Derrida. And I know that part of the reason why they hate Derrida is because he was teaching in that California university that I don't remember at the end of his life, so he was an easy target. But like, it's also because they were just like, we don't understand deconstruction. These words are long and hard. You know what it kind of reminds me of? Have you ever heard of that song Big by Peter Gabriel? At the beginning of that song, he's in a town where people only use small words and they have to do everything small, and he's like, no, I'm gonna be big. Like, Alan Sokol and Brickmont are from fucking small town. Hey guys, you a little concerned about being that close to the fucking edge? I like to live my life on the edge. Look at this shit. Like, imagine this being your house. I guess this is what you get when you. This is like Detroit housing values. Actually, Detroit housing values are like crazy right now because, like, okay, so I know like everywhere else in the country is like $1 million homes if you want to like live in a fucking shack. But Detroit, you used to be able to get a house for like way cheap, right? Like, so I went house hunting actually in 2019 at one point, and houses back then in Detroit, you could get a decent house for like less than 50K, right? Which was definitely low for the time, but like, yeah. And the house I was looking at was not in Detroit, it was in Lansing, but it was 77K. And I ended up not getting it because it failed inspection. Like, I'm not going to buy a house that fails inspection. I'm sorry. But yeah, it failed inspection. And so I didn't buy the house, which really sucks because, you know, everything like exploded in value, obviously. And shit, what am I thinking? Yeah, so now in Detroit, if you want to buy a house that like you can live in, you better shell at least 100K, which is crazy. Like crazy. Like we're talking like houses used to be like, oh god, yeah, they're really aggressive against Derrida. That is some like weird shit. I think that's like I don't know what's going on with Derrida and Brickmon, to be honest. That is kind of Derrida is like one of the ones that like I don't think Brickmon was directly targeting, and that might have been Sokol because Sokol was very heavily influenced by Paul R. Gross and Norman Levitt writing Higher Superstition, right? And Higher Superstition is a super racist, awful book, and one of the parts about it just goes off on Derrida for the stupidest reasons too, I might add. They insist that Derrida is a fucking Nazi because he references Heidegger in his works. Like, I'm not even shitting you. These are the same people. These people will say this, but then they'll be like, "Whoa, paleontology is not a racist science." Okay, like that is not true. Even though, like, literally 100 years ago, the people who ran paleontology were like the most fucking racist fuckers ever. Like, oh my god, the history of biology is so fucking racist. It's insane. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up the stream soon, just because I'm getting kind of tired. It's 10 right now over here. But one of the funniest things that is in the skeptic universe online, the skeptic cinematic universe, as you may call it. So there's a ancient balls ass website called Talk Origins, which was like a really popular atheist like info site back in the 2000s. And basically this was a site that would report on like different debates and court things, but also like how it had like a list of atheist arguments. You may have heard of this, right? And like the one of the funniest is where they talk about like they're like one of the arguments against evolution is that Darwin read Karl Marx, and like it's so funny how they try to act like Karl Marx is like this huge terrorist, and they're like, well, don't worry, Darwin didn't even read it. We have proof that he didn't open his own copy of Das Kapital. You know, it was just like so over the top. And it's like the funniest fucking thing. They're just so over the top with it. You gotta look it up. It's called Talk Origins, and look up it's like the Index to Creationist Claims, I think it's called. The Karl Marx one is just so funny. It just really captures the brain of like the mind of the internet at that time. It was just like, whoa, that's a really scary subject, guys. You talk about Karl Marx. That's the scariest thing I've ever heard. I think I'm gonna like scrunch in my booties here. Anyways, I think I'm gonna call it a night. It was nice seeing everybody again. I'll try to do this more often. Hopefully next time editing won't get so much in the way. Anyways,